Hey everybody, this is Alan Fine, and I'm here with Lindsay Perlman, the newly crowned, can you crown a president? The new president of Travel Leaders Network, formerly senior vice president, formerly chief operating officer, well, formerly a lot of things. We're going to talk about that too. But right now, Travel Leaders has a new leader, and he's here with us on Insider Travel Report. Lindsay, thank you for talking to us.
Alan, thank you. Thank you for having me here today.
Oh, this is great. This is great. First of all, I hear this is day one. This is your first day. How does it feel?
This is the first day. It's a little overwhelming initially, but very excited. Very excited for the future, and the support and feedback I've been getting so far has just been outstanding and overwhelming.
But how long have you been with Travel Leaders? I mean, it's got to help you make this move.
It makes it easier. So I'm just coming up, believe it or not, on my 6th year anniversary. But I've been in this side of the business, the consortium world, for like 25, 30 years, right? I know I don't look that old, but it's just it's the travel business. It keeps us all young.
Right, right, right. It's a because we keep going to the Fountain of Youth because we have free tickets. So let's talk about recruitment and growth. You had a record year of new agencies that have come in 2024. I heard 350. Tell us about that, please. And what are your plans? Are you going to keep growing, or are you going to hold it off a little bit?
So yeah, it was a great year last year for us. If you think about it, over the last 3 years, 3.5 years, we've added about 1,175 new agency partners, representing about 1.5 billion in preferred volume. Right, so that's great. But the reality of it is what we need to do, especially on a go forward basis, is help manage that growth. So we want to make sure that people come on board and they're getting the best value they can out of the organization. So there's a lot of focus as we were going forward, and a lot of this was already starting to happen before the change in the role. So it's easy for me to carry it forward, but to offer more support in the field, help people through, and make sure that they leverage the service that best suits their business. And what I mean by that is, we do a whole whack of things really, really well, but if they only need three, let's just show them the three that they need, right? So they're not overwhelmed by it. So that's where a lot of our energy is going to go going forward.
And we're going to talk about some of those tools that you offer. In fact, Agent Profiler generated a ton of leads. Let's talk about that, please.
Well, Profiler is an interesting beast, right? Because I think when this type of program started, a lot of folks were doing it, right? So you build a website, you type in "find me a travel advisor," and stuff would kind of pop up, right? You can really argue what was the quality of the leads, that sort of thing. So many years ago, we kind of shifted a little right, where it was basically saying, okay, well, how do we increase the quality of those leads? So instead of it being somebody who's kicking tires, it's let's look for somebody, let's say, that is looking for expertise in Puglia in Italy, or ziplining in Costa Rica, or pick an area. So what would happen is that you have consumers that are online, they're looking, they're testing it. We have Profiler that sits there and lists the expertise of the advisor. So what's happening is that as that person is narrowing down their search, they're finding advisors that are qualified. And then when somebody, they're realistically, if they're looking to spend 10, 5, 10, $20,000, they want to talk to somebody. They want to talk to an expert. And that's where we've seen this huge level of success with Profiler. It's caught on. We've really learned how to tweak it and how to build profiles and add value based on what that search engine optimization is looking for to drive those leads to the advisors.
So part of the trick is not to bring the advisor in too soon, but to use your technology to bring the qualified lead in.
Exactly. The qualified lead to the right advisor, right? And that's what's really important. So if somebody specializes in Hawaii, it goes there. If they specialize in Costa Rica, you can tell I like Costa Rica, it kind of goes there, right? So it leverages the expertise.
But with all technology, I mean, is it done? Is it perfect? Or what are your plans for it?
Is it perfect? It changes like on a regular basis. So we just added some tiers, performance tiers on it, and a lot of that is driven by what we find that the internet now requires. You'll see that more referrals they're looking for, and it's really about quality, right? The more that an advisor puts into their profile, maps and pictures and referrals and using the right terminology drives those leads. So the more they put in, the more they get out.
So these are the super agent tiers you're talking about.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool.
and that's working. So there's 3 tiers on Super Agent now, and some people say, "Listen, I spent all that time last year building my profile," but the reality of it is, in today's competitive environment, the goalposts are always changing, right? So if we can actually consult with people to say, this is where you're going to get your biggest bang for the buck, and this is what you need to do to get it, then that's what they do. And as a result, you're still seeing those leads coming in. The average sale now is like $10,500. The close rate is over 25%. So this is like real business. It's like if you took all those leads and made them a business, we would be a top 10. That in itself would be a top 10 business in the United States, right? So we're giving that to our members, right? It's part of the value adds that we do.
But that's not all. So let's talk a little bit about Snap, Cruise Complete, Agent Universe, all this tech. Any other new tech on the horizon?
Well, there's always stuff that we're playing with, and I don't like to talk about it until we deliver it. But if you take a look at all those programs that you talked about, and you say, like, what are we doing them for, right? So there's a couple of things that happen. One is you want to basically have platforms and business that drive incremental revenues, right? That's one piece of it. The other piece of it is you want to drive efficiencies. So if an advisor can go book air, cruise, or car, and they can do it on one platform that pulls everything in, whether that everything is preferred with us or non-preferred, they're not toggling, right? So they're going to do what's best for their customer. We want them to do what's best for their customer. So we're giving them the tools that allow them to search that as quick as possible. So that's the underlying theme with any of the technical platforms that you look at, right? So Snap has been the latest one, and it's been going like crazy. Now, one of the reasons why is because we actually didn't just develop technology and say, here you are. We actually developed a team, and that team spends their day every day walking members through the process, right? Everyone's afraid of selling air. We've been trained for years to be afraid of selling air. But if you can de-risk it and make it easy and simple and help somebody through that process so their confidence goes up, off they go.
Well, that's a good bridge because I wanted to talk about you spent a lot of time on education. You have a training library with like 500,000 logins that shows great enthusiasm for the material. Um, how do you plan to strengthen the education and certification programs for everybody?
Well, the certification programs tie nicely into profile. So if somebody become certified, they can attach that to their profile. That works out well. It goes to what we were referring to a little earlier with just constant change. So Leah and her training team are always adapting the material, right? It's like, and I always kind of laugh at this,
It's a
right?
moving target.
It's a moving target. So when I hear somebody say, I've been doing this for 20 years and I don't need training on cruise, it's like, yeah, you just kind of shake your head because what cruise was last year is entirely different than it was this year. And that happens because there's new product that comes in online. There's competitive forces that change things, geopolitical issues that change things, whatever the list that you could possibly discuss moves it. So we spend a ton of time and energy focusing on training and really driving the fact that people need to go in and train. Now, it needs to be quality training. And we see that measurement in the fact that there's 500,000 people who have logged in for these training sessions. So we're doing that right. We're not going to mess that up, right? We're going to continue to add in it. The platform works really well. The feedback that we get from people is pretty exciting.
Now, did I pick up on something? Because you emphasized a bespoke approach to supporting the agencies, but at the same time, you're scaling. How do you balance that?
Well, I think it's about really understanding the needs of the member, right?
Yeah.
Certain
Right.
members need certain things.
Hmm.
And the more you understand your customer, the more you understand what their requirements are, then that's what you provide them with. You don't go in with a broad based thing and say, look, we have all these corporate tools to an agency that is strictly leisure. It makes no sense,
No, and you
right?
said earlier in this conversation that if they just need three tools, then we work with those three tools.
Exactly. And you know what? And maybe a year from now, they need a fourth. That's the nice thing about Edge or regional meetings or our peak meetings. It shows people that may not be familiar with the product that we have that out there if they need it and their business has evolved. But a lot of this pressure goes on to the field team, right? Because the field team, the demand of the field team is know your customer. And if that's in place, then we can drive the best value to that member.
So, Mr. President, let's talk about what are your strategic priorities for the next few years? What are you going to do? How are you going to maneuver and grow Travel Leaders Network?
Well, here's the thing, Alan, right now, the reality of it is we're in a really good place, right? So I got big shoes to fill, right? Both with both John and Roger. Um, Two gentlemen I've known for a very long time. So I've learned some of the best. But the reality of it is I've been in this business for, as we mentioned, 6 years with travel leaders. So there's a big element of the business I already know. I don't know what I don't know, right? So
None of
part of
us do.
that, yeah. So part of that over the next, call it 60, 90 days is to kind of keep my mouth shut and learn from the best. Like we have a lot of really, really smart people here. And the worst thing is that people come in and they make assumptions. And, you have people that look and you go, well, I'm not an idiot, right?
Yeah. Right,
But
right,
this is why
right,
this works or this is why it doesn't work.
right.
So, so we'll tweak. If our expectation is the member tweaks and the market tweaks, then we need to tweak as well. But I think if you look further down, and the worst question you hear anymore is, what are your priorities over the next 5 years? Like 5 years is an eternity. Think about where we were 5 years ago right now, right? So, but I think directionally, it's not going to change. And directionally is how do we continue to add value, right? How do we make the lives of the travel advisor and their businesses easier and more profitable and streamlined? AI is a prime example of it, right? There's a lot of fear around AI, but the reality of it is it's a tool like the tools we talked about earlier. It's no different than, uh, you know, think about how we use the internet today versus how we used it 10 years ago, right? You wouldn't even dream about doing this business without that platform. So I think AI is a tool that people will use like anything else. Will it have an impact? Sure will. But at the end of the day, it still needs to be run by people, right? So I think you'll see some of that goes. But again, what's that all about? It's all about driving efficiencies.
Okay. And the same kind of forward-thinking question, what are the challenges and the opportunities you see as we move forward?
Well, the challenge is we don't know. It's there's
We don't know what we
geopolitical
don't know again.
challenges. We don't know what we don't know. There's geopolitical challenges. There's environmental challenges. The upside is how do you look at this, right? So if we take a look, and this is a big lift actually for our business because people are looking for more complex travel, or they're looking for flexibility, or they're looking for support, or all of those elements of it. So that really falls under the advisor because they bring that expertise. So if somebody wants to do a further away trip, I've heard the term lately. I don't know if you've heard this cool vacations, where people are looking to go on
Yes,
holidays in cool areas,
yes, yes,
like
yes,
temperature wise, I'm referring to,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So, yeah, you might be able to book it online, but do you want to? Right? There's so many nuances. around all of this. So the more complex travel gets in the future, whether based on positive things or negative things, the more I think the advisor still is required more so than ever.
So the challenge is actually the opportunity.
Yes, exactly. Where does that leave us? We adapt. We focus our training, our marketing, and our tools to allow for the execution on those product lines. We win too.
All right. And what do you want to talk about? I've been sort of driving the conversation. What haven't we covered that you want to express? We're going out to 128,000 travel advisors. What do you want them to know?
You know, the biggest thing that I would say to anybody in this, like we're in the industry as a whole, forget about, I'll back up a bit. For years, we are keeping told that this industry, especially at the advisor level, is dead, right? It's going direct. We have been counted out so many times. And the reality of it is it's the exact opposite, right? And that's the one thing I came out of Edge with. I showed up at our conference. As you know, we had over 2,100 people there, full house. It was crazy. The energy levels are through the roof. And I walked in thinking, well, we're going to have a lot of doom and gloom here, and that it was the exact opposite. And we need to understand that we're our own consumers. So if we have that amount of energy and desire, then so do our customers, and they're going to travel. So for the advisors, don't get caught up in the negativity. Celebrate the 95% of things that are going really well, right? Don't take your eye off the 5% of things that aren't, but understand.
Don't fixate.
Don't fixate. Let's celebrate what's working really well. And I think we'll all have a good time as a result of it.
Okay, so now we have all these travel advisors out there. Some of them are working with you, some of them are not. The ones who want to learn more, where should they go?
Just reach out to travelleadersnetwork.com and you can engage with us and we'll set up and have a great conversation.
Congratulations to you. I'm tickled to get to talk to you on your first day. I wish you all the best and thank you for speaking with us.
Thanks so much, Alan. Greatly appreciate it.
And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.